nothing of any description at all with the boat when he put it beside the reaction of the disciples. He says, the ship was covered with the waves. Jesus' reaction says, he was asleep. But then the reaction of the disciples, and it says, he said unto them, why are you so fearful? They were so fearful. Now, when you look at this, two reactions, it goes to show that it is possible to experience the same problem, but you could also, it's also possible that you would not react the same reaction as your brother or as your sister. That is so true because we see a lot of people, when they hear about their husbands doing something extracurricular. Hindi raw sa mga kabilang buhay, pero sa mga kabilang bahay. Okay? When you look at the wives experiencing the same experience, they don't respond the same way. Why? Because their response, brothers and sisters, signifies the kind of faith that they have in their heart. If you respond rightly, it means there's something positive in your faith. But if you respond negatively, it means there's something negative in your faith. But when all of us respond negatively, it means the heart of the problem now is your faith. So when faith becomes the problem, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? When your problem is your faith, it means you're sick. Whether you accept it or not, being sick in faith is one of the most terrible experiences of a Christian. Why? Because if you are sick in faith, everything becomes a problem. We are the most pitiful Christian in the world if anything and everything in you becomes a problem. Before, when you are handling a church, one of our most common problem, or should I say challenge, is the challenge to come up with a fund. And there was a time in our church when we tried to move into a bigger church, into a bigger place, that we don't have much fund to move into a newer and a bigger place. Make the long story short, we moved into a bigger place, and when we look at our expenses, we had used like less than $5,000 just for the move. And then when we compared our expenses with our resources, we were surprised because we don't have much resources compared to what we have actually what we have actually used. Okay? What we have actually spent. Now here is where the problem lies. When you are in that situation the first time, and your faith is not, or when your faith is sick, the next time you get to encounter the same problem, your faith is sick also. Why? Because every opportunity to exercise our faith, when faith is the problem, when faith has sickness, and when faith is not treated, when faith is not cured, you get to carry the same sickness all the way through in life. All the way through in life. The reaction of the disciples is so intriguing. I'm sure all of us had responded or reacted the same way. What did they do? They woke up Jesus Christ. Is that a bad thing? To wake up Jesus? No, it's not a bad thing. But it becomes a bad thing, you know why? The reason that their faith is sick, it's because they remember Jesus, but they forgot that Jesus was with them. We just be silent for a while. There is a problem. Whenever you encounter a problem, you remember God. Your faith has a problem when you face a need in your life and you remember God. Why? Because remembering God in the times of our sickness, in the times of our needs, it's not evil, it's not bad. Actually, it's good. But being good is not good enough. Why? Because the truth of the Word of God says, His name is Emmanuel, and the meaning of Emmanuel is God is with us. Therefore, if you have a problem and you remember God, but forgot that Jesus was with you, something is wrong. Something is wrong. What's wrong with that, Pastor Alan? What's wrong? They forgot that Jesus was riding with them. Something was wrong. Why? Because, yes, they woke up, they remembered Jesus Christ. Isn't it that that's what we do in life? Jesus Christ becomes our last resort in life, not our first choice in life. When you go to the doctor and the doctor says, all clear, no lungs. Lord! Lord! But that's for the unbelievers. But if you are a believer of Christ, you become fearful if your faith is sick. The evidence of sickness in faith is when you are terrified of things. I've shared this earlier sa LOPN. There was a time that Donald Trump of New York lost $2 billion of his investments in 2 months. You know how much is $2 billion? I don't know. I don't know. And then it also happened that I have a small investment too, and then one day I received a statement. As I was opening up the statement, it indicated that I also lost money. I also lost $2 out of my investments. Okay? And that was the time, that was the height of the economic crisis in the United States. The environment, the atmosphere, for those who have big monies, for those who are billionaires, it was like a cloud of fear and doubt and hopelessness that had stricken all their hearts. But for those who believe in God, whose faith is firm, and their faith is not the problem, they continue to hold on, they continue to hope in God, they continue to believe in God despite of their situation. But when you encounter a problem, you do not just remember God in your life, you must remember that He is with you. And that's it. That's the absolute truth regarding having confidence in living here in this cruel world. You must know that God is with you in this world. It doesn't matter how much you need. It doesn't matter how big is your problem.